What's up, everybody? What's going on? Let everybody get up in here. Should be a great night tonight. We've had a lot of stuff going on over the weekend. A lot of stuff. We're talking about the 75th NBA celebration, announcing the team, uh, going through everything. I mean, that was a historic night. Historic night, right? OG Car Scammer, since warm as Aloha FDA. Are you going to Atlanta? Dallas, March 3rd through 6th. I will not be in Atlanta. And right now, I'm not scheduled to go to Dallas. But we do have some shows coming up. But it won't be those two. But I think both shows will be great. I mean, Atlanta had a great show before. And Dallas has always been great, it seems. So, but I won't be at those two. But there are some shows coming up here. The LA proper show was a great show on Saturday. I think a lot of people went by here in LA and had fun. CT Collectibles, I appreciate you being ready to roll. I'll always stay ready, right? So we don't have to get ready. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for being here. Yeah, but I was just saying we had a lot going on this weekend. NBA 75th anniversary team. The game itself being played. We can even get into. I want to talk about it all tonight. You all throw some stuff in the comments because we can even go back and talk about what was going on in the skills competition, in the slam dunk contest, in the 3-point shooting contest. Where's Trae Young at? Trae Young with Cat winning. Interesting. Hello, rookie card finder. Appreciate you being here. Oh, thank you very much. I'm happy if I can give any info that is that can be used, that is needed. I'm very happy to hear that. Thank you very much, Bane in your face. I appreciate it. James, what's up? How you doing? Get ready to roll. We're gonna have guests tonight here in a little bit, and probably just over about 40 minutes or so. Union Marketplace is going to be on. Alex and Wiley will be here, so we'll jump into a great conversation with them. We're going to talk about the upcoming show that they have planned in Del Mar, as well as much more. Learn a little bit more about their backgrounds, how they got into collecting, so many other questions that we'll get into. But what do you all think? Tell me, what did you all think about last night's All-Star game? Was it interesting? If you watch All-Star games in the past, how would you rank that one? Where would you compare it? What would you compare it to? Were there some players that you thought should have been added that were not added? I'd love to get your thoughts. Love to see what you think. I thought that the game was pretty cool. What's up, Colorado Sports Dude? Hi, y'all in FD. Crazy All-Star game last night. The ending was great. Yeah, the ending was cool, right? It was a high scoring game, but it ended up being a competitive game. At least by the score, that is, in a close score, and allowed players to kind of showcase themselves. Steph Curry setting a record for 16 threes in the game was rather impressive. Ending with 50 points. I think at one point he was going for the overall record that Anthony Davis set a few years back of 52 points. It was interesting to see. I could tell LeBron was sentimental of being back in Cleveland, being around a home crowd. There's been some talk about LeBron possibly going back to Cleveland to finish his career and possibly one day leaving the Lakers in order to do that. That'd be interesting. Also, chime in. Let me know if you were out and about this past weekend looking at cars or at a card show. Let me know what you were picking up. Even if you were on eBay or a website, let me know what you were looking at or what you picked up. Be good to hear. At the LA Proper Show, I mean, that was cars of. It was cool. You had great vendors to talk to. You had price bin cards all the way up to some more expensive stuff. There was some rarity there. I saw some rare cards on tables. It was pretty cool to see. But going back to the All-Star game, I thought it was interesting. It was kind of funny to me that I saw a few clips of LaMelo attempting to play some real defense on Steph Curry. Maybe he didn't want Steph Curry to break that 3-point record, or maybe he was just being competitive, you know. Joe, just picking up as much 2020 optic hollow numbered rookies. I understand that approach. I get it. From that class, I look for number cards as well. Either being optic or being prism or even another brand. I'm always looking for something. I'm trying to find a good deal. What's up, Richard? Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm always going back to Joel. I'm always trying to, try to get out. When I enter a show, I try to remain open-minded to what the show may bring, what I might see. I try not to come into a show. It has been some times that I have, but I try not to come in thinking about a particular card or thinking about a particular player. I try to stay open-minded as much as I can because you just never know what you may see. It could be something very rare sitting somewhere. It could be something in your price range if you have one before you come in. And I think this year you're going to get use some. I feel like I'm seeing more cards of different types than I did 8 months ago. You all let me know if when you're out and about, do you see that? It's that same trend. Do you see that? There's some really, I'm not saying stuff wasn't nice before, but there's some really nice things out there. Hey, what's up, Richard? What's up? Ruben? Where is your co-host? Oh, I think he'll be back. Life brings about different things sometimes. Sometimes you have to just keep the show going, but he'll be back. I'll let him know that you miss him, Ruben. You're thinking about him. But tonight, we talked about earlier, we're going to have some, I guess you could say co-hosts or guests on. We're going to have Union Marketplace based here in the San Diego area. They have a show coming up in Del Mar, which is going to be a pretty big show. I won't steal the thunder. Let them talk about that. But we're going to dive into that show, talk about how the location or why that location was picked, what else is going on with the show, who else is going to be there, is there going to be some corporate sponsorship, things like that we'll dive into. But Steph hitting 16 threes in a game, I mean, that's rather impressive. I don't know if it's I try to step back from Steph and just think about if anyone else scored to that magnitude in an All-Star game. That's a lot. It's a lot. And I think the veterans, just my thought, right? I think they had a plan going on that after the skills competition and the slam dunk contest, and maybe even the 3-point contest, that they want to try to save the weekend. Let's at least give people a show. Did you see LeBron was ranked number 2 on the top 75 list? See, this is what I wanted to get into, Jordan. And I had I've already looked this up. So let's get into this conversation here, right? So let's read off the top 10. We have Jordan number 1. This is ESPN's top 75 list. LeBron number 2. Kareem number 3. Magic Johnson number 4. Wilt number 5. Bill Russell number 6. Larry Bird number 7. Tim Duncan number 8. Oscar Robertson number 9. Kobe Bryant number 10. You all let me know if you agree with that list. I would love to hear from the community that's out there. What do you think of that list? And we're talking about right now, if you're just getting on here, the ESPN ranked the top 75 team from the NBA. And I thought it was quite interesting, but they did rank LeBron number 2. I think you all know that just from a skills perspective, I have LeBron at number 11. What's up, Sylvester? What's going on? What was interesting, though, right, is that our top 10 between what I picked and what ESPN picked is very similar. The only person that cracked the top 10 that I didn't have was Larry Bird. I had Steph Curry in the top 10 at number 9. ESPN had Larry Bird at number 7 and put Steph at number 16, which I find rather interesting. Can't complain. Rookie card finder. Richard, LeBron can't be higher than Bill Russell. This is my point, Richard. And let me just reiterate where Bill Russell is at number 6, LeBron's at number 2. I just can't. I don't know. And I try to. I watched a lot of tape on stuff that is before me, before I was born. I just don't know when people say that they can't rank someone all time if there was before their lifetime or they haven't seen them play. I just don't know about that. You know, the history of the game is very significant. I don't care what game you're playing. If you're talking about football, who played in the 50s and the 60s and the beginning of the 70s for me, it's still very important, right? I can't say Deacon Jones, who started the whole stat of sacks, is not important because I didn't visually see him play by turning on the TV. I just can't say that. I have to respect, just like right now. I mean, let's think about it. I've talked to some people who think Barry Sanders is not that great because they didn't see him play in person. I've talked to people that said Michael Jordan is not better than Kobe Bryant because they never saw Michael Jordan play, but they saw Kobe play. I just have to be, there has to be a part of my list that's a historic view. So that's why I always try to incorporate people who, I mean, George Mikan is going to be later in my list. I just can't walk away from what happened in the past. Bob Cousy is on my list. I just can't walk away from what happened in the past and say, well, it didn't happen in my lifetime, so I don't know. Honestly, it's pretty solid. I can respect that, Jordan. I just don't think that LeBron ranks higher than Bill Russell, Oscar Robertson, not to me. But I do respect the fact that everyone has a list. I say this over and over again. So anyone here, we have 27, 30 people on. Anyone here, there could be 35 different lists that are here. I respect each and every last one of them. We may get into a healthy debate about, is LeBron really number 2 all time? Or is he number 2 all time because he plays today? And saying that he's number 2 may help viewership for whatever network it is. In this case, is ESPN putting out a list. Well, let me just go back through this top 10, right? Michael Jordan doesn't play, but you can't say that LeBron's better than him. Kareem doesn't play anymore. Magic Johnson doesn't play anymore. Will Chamberlain, Bill Russell, they don't play anymore. Larry Bird doesn't play anymore. Tim Duncan is not playing. Oscar Robertson and Kobe Bryant are not playing. LeBron is the only person in the top 10 that is still on the court, bouncing the ball, dunking, shooting threes, jump shots, free throws. Jay favors LeBron should not be in the top 10. Again, I have him at number 11. I respect anybody, though, that says that he's in the top 10, but he's number 11 to me. I can't put LeBron over Kobe Bryant. Well, when I think about, when I say skills, let me explain what I'm saying here. So I'm thinking about can score, can control the game from anywhere on the court. LeBron historically has wanted shooters on the team because that's not his strongest attribute. His attribute is moving around, shooting jump shots, and distributing the ball, right? And if he has Ray Allen over here, or if he has another shooter over there, that helps him. Kobe Bryant, in my book, and Michael Jordan were the shooters. They wanted the last shot. They wanted to take over the game. They wanted the ball in their hands. If you watch games, sometimes you can see LeBron does not want that. He wants to be a facilitator and distributor. And then at times, he'll take shots. And I think it may have something to do if he feels like his shot is on that night, if he's ready to take on that load for the team. So there's just different attributes there. But LeBron James has historically always had a shooter or shooters on his team. And that's a person who has a plus 18-foot jump shot that's pretty much consistent, or a three-point shot that's pretty much consistent. Let's not forget, too, he hinted a few years ago that he wanted to play with Steph Curry. Because he knows that if he's down low controlling what's under 12 to 13 feet, and Steph is out there controlling what's past 18 feet, they can't lose. Not at all. So when I say skills, right, I'm looking at somebody who can take the game over from anywhere on the court. And that's why I have people like Akeem Olajuwon and people like that higher on my list. That's why I put Kobe over LeBron, because Kobe could take the game over from anywhere. We have shot after shot after shot of Kobe taking the game over. I get passionate about this. Marcus, I think if the NBA says it, we're going to have to deal with it. Yeah, well, not me. Not me. I've watched basketball since I was probably 6 or 7 years old. A lot of the people that are in the top 75, I have seen them play regularly in regular season games and in the playoff games. I remember watching Charles Barkley with Moses Malone and Dr. J when Charles Barkley was a rookie. I mean, there are things that I've watched for a long time. And it's really, again, this isn't the NBA. They didn't give it rank. ESPN gave it rank. Marcus, MJ is number 1 for sure. Yeah, I got Curry in the top 10. Got him at number 9 rookie card finder. And he's climbing. Also, another player that's climbing is Kevin Durant. This list here has Kevin Durant at 12. And I think Kevin Durant is climbing fast. Let's see what I have on my list. Kevin Durant, I got him at 13. So we're very similar. But I got him jumping in the top 10 very soon here. JR Sports Cars Chronicles. I think we can all announce and agree that MJ is number 1 all time. Yep. Mike is GOAT. Yes, Marcus. Jordan. LeBron faced better competition compared to Bill Russell. I get Bill's got the chips, but LeBron is MJ and Magic in 1. I can see that. I mean, I see what you're saying there. As far as competition, that no one plays defense like Bill Russell. I don't care if you had 8 teams in the league or you got 30-some teams in the league. We'll agree to disagree, Jordan. I just cannot rank LeBron James higher than Bill Russell. Sylvester Boston, LeBron is number 6. Russell, Wilt, Kareem, Jordan, Oscar, LeBron. Sylvester, I can get more behind that than anything. You put Oscar Robertson in there. That's a name that most people forget. And it's because Oscar Robertson doesn't have a lot of tape for someone to see. He doesn't have a lot of tape from college. He doesn't have a lot of tape from being a pro. And most of his tape was when he was older in his career and he played with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of Milwaukee. So, but we have to remember that was an older Oscar Robertson. And it was like almost like when Dwayne Wade played with Shaq. Oscar Robertson knew that Kareem can get it. He was averaging 30-some points a game. He was playing defense and grabbing rebounds. He leaned on him to get that ring. Diehard Kobe fan here. Mike Davis. I appreciate that. I'm from Chicago. I have a lot of love for Kobe Bryant. I can see that. I understand. I talk to a lot of Kobe fans, as you know. I mean, I'm out and about, and I speak to a lot of Kobe Bryant fans. He was a phenomenal player, but he got the blueprint from the GOAT himself. Marcus FT, LBJ better than Tim Duncan. I don't have him ranked higher than Tim Duncan. I do not. Let me know what you think, Marcus, if you think he is. Mike Davis, LeBron, Jordan, Kobe, Magic, Kareem. You're getting warm in there, Mike. I like that now. I like that. Peeps, hey, what's up? How you doing, peeps? I'm happy that you're here. You have a great picture there as well. Bring back a lot of memories. 84 Fleer baseball. I like that picture. Curry is insane right now. Something tells me, I could be wrong. So we all know Chris Paul is hurt, right? If you didn't know that, Chris Paul is hurt. Right before the All-Star game, I think he's passing the ball or shooting the ball, and he bumps his thumb against someone's arm. And I think he needs surgery. He's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. And a couple of lives ago, I said the Suns will only go as far as Chris Paul. Only go as far as Chris Paul. So if he's out 6-8, you might see a seed change. We all know Phoenix is going to the playoffs. They've already clinched, I think, a playoff space. So they're going to the playoffs no matter what. It'd be interesting to see where their seed changes because Chris Paul isn't there. He's a big piece of their offense and defensive team. I mean, he does a lot for that team. He's like a coach for them on the court. So I see Golden State getting stronger as the season goes. I like the way Kerr has been starting different people, moving different people into the game after the game starts, letting them get real-time experience. Even some of the young people, even some of their rookies are in there contributing hard. So not just Curry being insane, but Golden State is going to, bar no injuries. Draymond's going to be back. He's been out. He's going to help their defense and stability of their defense. So it's going to be quite interesting. Matthew's baseball card collecting. Yes, I am a baseball fan. Probably before, I used to go to a baseball game a month or a baseball game every other month. And when I lived in another state once upon a time, I went to a baseball game every week. Every single week, I was sitting in the bleachers at a baseball game with affordable tickets watching the game. Yeah, I'm a baseball fan. Speaking of baseball, I don't know what kind of season we're going to have. I don't know when it's going to start. What has been pushed back now to a potential opening time of March 5th, I think. So, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I hope there's a long baseball season. I can't wait to see. I've been hearing a lot of rumblings about the Seattle Mariners, and they have a lot of talent. What are they going to be able to do with that talent? I remember back in '94, if I'm not mistaken, the White Sox had a great team, right? And I'm away in school, and then they go on strike. And they don't end up winning the World Series until 2005. But at that time, we thought we had a team that could win the World Series. I would hate for a team to experience something like that today. I would hate that. So I hope we have a season. I hope we have a timely season. To the moon. How you doing, sir? I'm glad that you're here. Thanks for being here. Matthew's baseball card collection. MJ is the best. LeBron is overrated. I just think LeBron, and I'm going to say this. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it on here. If you're number 7, 11, 13 on the list, you've had a phenomenal career. Think about all the people who have played basketball, all the people who were potential candidates for the 75. Now, in my opinion, Damian Lillard, Anthony Davis should not have been on the 75. Now, you can't tell me Tracy McGrady, Dwight Howard, and Vince Carter should not have been on that team. And then those guys got to wait another 25 years to be on the top 100. But if you're on the team and you're rated highly like LeBron, last night I saw some things on. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but how players were called out, how they were announced on the top 75 was very interesting to me. Right? Kareem was the last center announced. LeBron was the last forward announced. And we know that MJ all day was the last guard. And those guards were hitting hard at the end, right? You had Steph, you had Magic Johnson, you had Gary Payton was in there a little bit, I think, before Steph, and you got up to Michael Jordan. So, I mean, there was some talent there, but I just cannot believe that there wasn't some order in how those players were announced. And then Michael Jordan in Cleveland, shooting over Gerald Wilkins, and then the big shot that won the first playoff game series that against Cleveland that the Bulls had. He's ripped the heart out of that city several times. He got the highest ovation of anybody in the top 75 that was named off last night, including LeBron. Interesting, right? Very interesting. Richard has Michael Jordan, Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Will Chamberlain. Look at these names. Oscar Robertson, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Larry Bird, LeBron James. The only difference we got, Richard, is I switched out Steph Curry for Larry Bird. Everybody else, we're pretty much thinking the same thing. I don't know if you have an order here, but we're thinking the same players. Colorado Sports, do you think the top 75 looks much different in, say, 20 years? Giannis and who else from all-time young talent? NBA hasn't been around long like the MLB, so maybe in 25 years it'll be interesting. Well, you got Giannis out there. Well, we don't know what some of these other players are going to be, because 6 or 7 years ago we wouldn't have said Colorado. We would not have mentioned Giannis, but he is definitely going to be a top player that's going to be in the top 100 list. I mean, you can start probably putting his name in the stone right now. The way he's playing, the way he's has grown his game. I mean, then that's when you'll have Vince Carter, Dwight Howard. You'll have those players come in. You have Tracy McGrady should be in there. He'll come in. You'll have Klay Thompson. He'll come in. So you got some players right now that's in the last parts of their careers probably that will definitely be on that team. Some of these younger guys, we'll see. You got to see what LaMelo's going to do, what Anthony Edwards is going to do, who I think highly of. You got to see what some of these guys are going to do. But I would think that if you're a player who wants to take your game to the next level, and you saw what just went on last night, you got to be hungry, right? I would think you'd be hungry for greatness. Like, how do you get there? There's no way I'm getting out of that building without talking to some of these guys. There's no way I'm not following up with these guys later. After hearing the story of Kobe Bryant and how he was just like Michael Jordan said, he's like following around. He's like, call him at 2 o'clock in the morning. I will be that same person with the level of greatness that was in that room. I mean, that was just the name. I watched this thing. I'll tell y'all this, right? I get into this. So I watched just the ceremony of announcing names several times today. And I went back and watched the top 50 from 25 years ago. It's just interesting to see. Rookie card collector, Isaiah Thomas, bad boy. It was good to see him yesterday. It was good to see him. Wesley Powell, Jordan, Magic, Kareem, Wilt, Oscar, Bill, Elijah Wan, Kobe, LeBron, Tim Duncan. It's a nice list. It's a real nice list. Just think about the talent we've seen in the last 30 years of the NBA. It's amazing, the talent that we have seen. Marcus, if it's not recorded, it's fiction. It's sad, but it's the truth. Well, Oscar Robertson is not fiction for me. Not fiction. Man, nearly averaged a triple-double in his career. Ran point at his height. Was doing things with the ball. His jump shot is all net. He's a phenomenal player. Just a phenomenal player. I just cannot. I met Oscar Robertson once, and I talked to him a little bit while I was with him, and he joked with me, right? He joked with me about most of Dr. J's points coming from the ABA. He joked with me, and it's true. These vintage kind of players, they know. They rank their game. They know what's going on between them and another player. So he talked about how Dr. J, most of his points came from the ABA. And he was surprised that Dr. J included those points in an inscription on his total career points. Then he started laughing. He's like, I'm just messing with you. But there's always a level of competition there. So Marcus, all the Oscar Robertson tape I can find, I'm going to watch as many times as I can. Love what you collect. Appreciate you being here. Kobe at 10 is disrespectful. I completely agree with you. I had Kobe at 5. Kobe at 10? I hope people don't start saying, well, like what? Kobe was okay, but no, Kobe was not just okay. He was not just okay. You know, I think you all saw too. Shaq got a little emotional last night, talking about Kobe and the impact that he had on his career. Um, just think if those two guys could have got it right, where they would have been. If they could have, maybe if Shaq came in. You know, when I look at that situation, there's truth on both sides, right? Shaq probably could have came in better shape. Kobe maybe could have chilled out, got to know his teammates better, and spent a little bit more time with people and taking the edge off a little bit. But if they could have got that right, it'd have been beautiful. Beautiful to see. Coffee Dad Collector, Ginobili, Basketball Hall of Fame. He better be in the Hall of Fame. Tony Parker should definitely be in the Hall of Fame. There was some chirping last night about Tony Parker should be top 75. Those two gentlemen, I've watched a lot of San Antonio basketball. They should be in the Hall of Fame. To me, that's without question. Pistol Pete, Ernest, definitely top 75. He's not top 10, but he's definitely top. I mean, that's without question. He's top 75. Good morning, Ernest. Stay safe. Keeping it rolling. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for being here. Jay Favors, Jordan, Kobe, Magic, Wilt, and Kareem. Yes. Yes. Now, it was cool last night, too, right? Did you all see when LeBron came over and talked to Jordan and they both hugged each other? That was a cool moment. It was a cool moment to see. I liked it. No, you haven't missed Wiley and Alex. They're going to be on here in probably about 25 to 30 minutes. Killer Foe, they will be here. We'll have a good conversation. I've been looking forward to this for quite a while. I'm excited for them to be here, but you have not missed them. They will be here. This is like when you have the big band coming through and then you got that first act coming out. I'm coming out talking to my people here, talking about the weekend, anything that you want to bring up, talking about the NBA Top 75, talking about kind of the after when you saw several players. Michael Jordan is always messing and talking to people, but he was messing with Magic Johnson about playing against him one-on-one right now, getting their sneakers on. You know, those are the kind of things that even with me playing sports back in the day, you miss a part of that, right? That kind of talk with your teammates, joking with them about different things. I mean, we would go out before practice and I would see if I could outthrow the quarterback, right? Because when you're a bigger guy, no one is expecting for you to throw the football. And on some pass routes, I could throw better than our quarterback could. I remember one time in high school, I'll tell you the story. I asked the coach, could I play tight end? This is my senior year in high school. I had pretty good hands, people. You know what I'm saying? I could catch the ball. I could protect the ball, and I could run with the ball. So I asked, can I play tight end for just one game? Coach told me this. He said, FD, I'll make you a wager. If we set cones up 10 yards before an end zone, and you catch the ball 10 yards before the end zone, you got to get through 10 of your teammates one by one. Catch, go. That person has to tackle you. If any one of them gets you on the ground, you can't play tight end in the next game. What do you all think happened there? I walked through all 10 of those people. I kid you not. Our quarterback threw me the ball. I ran a route like I was a tight end, turned, and walked through all 10 of those into the end zone. The coach still did not let me play tight end. Gang. Can you believe that? We're talking about years ago. That's still on my mind. That still comes up. Marcus, Timmy D is more about his people, but LBJ is more marketable. Very true. And this is why we see marketability, likability changes the whole scope. Now, Tim Duncan has openly talked about how he doesn't like doing interviews. He doesn't really like talking to people. And when he first got to San Antonio, they had to work with him to be more engaging in that way because of the way his career was going. And you know, there's nothing bad to say about Tim Duncan. Just because you're a good basketball player doesn't mean you want to be an orator, right? You may not want to talk to people, but that comes with the job a lot of times, especially if you're an exceptional player. And there are the leagues have rules that you need to be talking to the press if you're a top player on your team. So Tim tried to work on that. It seemed like to me he got better with it over time in his career. But I mean, I can clearly see that may not be a strong suit for a lot of players. And you look in today's environment, there are still players that are modern day players that don't talk a lot to the media. LBJ is everyone's friend and tell us about LBJ's money. Timmy D is a real fan, so choose one or the other. It's true, Marcus. Good insight, good observation there. I talk about this all the time when it comes to Tim Duncan. And I think this is what affects his card values. When people, and I think that's what Kobe was going. Kobe was going to a place where he was starting to work on at art, right? He made a short, which is a phenomenal short to me if you've ever seen it. So he made a short. He got an Oscar for that. Those are things that no one would have thought Kobe Bryant would have been doing when he was playing ball. He wrote books, and he was starting to venture out into other stuff. And I think that was a time when people was going to start learning more and more and more about him. You know, but when I look at Tim Duncan and how he played the power forward position, because before he became a power forward, a major power forward in the NBA, Charles Barkley to me was the best power forward of all time. And that was a debate in the 90s. Is it Charles Barkley or is it Karl Malone? And in my book, it was always Charles Barkley. Like Charles Barkley, for his size, they listed him, I think, at 6'4". He was barely 6'3" and could out-rebound anyone but Dennis Rodman. I mean, if you put him head-to-head in a playoff game or a game that really mattered and you said, go get those rebounds, he was snatching rebounds and cleaning the board against guys that were much taller than him. Charles Barkley gets all my respect. Today, he's on TNT, right? He's like a jokester. But he knows basketball. If you listen to what he's talking about, he knows basketball. But when Tim came in and started doing what he was doing out of Wake Forest, I love the big men who can play the game and who are fundamentally sound. I really enjoy that. I enjoy watching that. I think the NBA needs more. Now, I have modernized myself where I can get with the stretch, right? I can get with a guy like a Jokic or a Giannis or even a Joel Embiid who can step out and shoot the three or has a 12 to 15-foot jumper. I can get all into that. I understand that. That's the modern course of basketball. But you tell me you don't get hype when you see a big guy go down on that block, call for the ball, get it, and then start working. It's exciting stuff to me. Very exciting. Money over a relationship. Peeps, how about that kid Kuminga? Highlight real stuff. Kuminga's special. He's a special player. If you haven't seen him play, please watch him play. He's a very special player. I think he's just going to get better and better and better over time. And what I love about him is that Golden State has him in a developmental kind of stage, right? He comes in, he plays minutes. He's with certain people on the court, which allows him to rebound, which allows him to step out and shoot the three. Now he'll also, at his age, will get down on the block and control the ball and call for it. And he has post moves at this stage of his career. He's going to be a special player. Jay Favors, Ken Griffey, Barry Bonds, Ricky Henderson, my GOATs. Those three are phenomenal. Ricky Henderson also could have played football. All those three players are just special players. I love watching all of them growing up. Ricky Henderson, no matter where he went, he was still balling. Even with the San Diego Padres at the end, he was still handling his business. So great players. I've met Barry Bonds. I've met Ricky Henderson. I haven't met Ken Griffey Jr. not in person, like where you could talk to him. But the other two I had good experiences with both. Ricky Henderson was very like a student of the history of baseball. Like he said some things about, we were talking about Jackie Robinson and some other stuff in baseball. And I was telling him some stuff that he did not know. And we had a good conversation about the importance of the history of baseball. And that takes me back to what we talked about earlier with the history of basketball. It's just to me, the history of everything is just so important, right? If you watch Bob Cousy play, let's just get into this right quick. If you watch Bob Cousy play, and the way he dribbled the ball, he's still a great point guard to me. Because in the era in which he played, his moves, his dribbling ability was better than probably most of the point guards in his era. And you got him, and then you had Bill together. It was something special, and that kicked off the point guard and the big man, George Mikan. If you go back and watch some of his footage on YouTube, his footwork, like you look at, to me, a big man, you look at footwork, right? His footwork was great. You look at, please go look at Kareem when he first got to, Lou Alcindor first got to Milwaukee, and check out his footwork in the post. Please check that out. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. When he gets the ball, squares up, and what he's doing, and how he's 3 steps ahead of the sky hook at an early age. He's setting you up and taking you to school and then dropping off the sky hook. And we all know that's a shot that cannot be blocked. Those are the kind of things that really get me excited. 94 was the Expos year. Freaking shame. Yeah, it was. They had a team. Yeah, it was. CNT Collectibles. Top 75 was crazy, right, Marcus? LeBron is the Mount Rushmore. Mambas Marvels. Mike Davis, Tony Gwynn, Ken Griffey, Barry Bonds. Yeah. James, question. What are your thoughts on the collectability long-term investment of the Topps Project 70? This is a great question. I have definitely ideas about this. Thought about buying and cracking one open to get autographed, then graded. Wise decision. When it comes to Topps Project 70, this to me is they're bringing in artists. This is about artwork, right? So if you see an artist and their artwork and you love the way that card looks, James, go ahead and do what you're doing. Crack, slab, get it autographed. It's going to look great, right? It's going to be a beautiful card. Long-term investment-wise. So the way Topps Project 70 worked out is that when they first came out, you only had a few cards, and there was low stock, definitely of the Mike Trout. Low production run. And then as cards continued to come out, the production run got bigger and bigger and bigger on cards. So that made them less valuable in the marketplace over a time period. So you went from having just a few artists with a few cars out there that had low production runs, prices shot up. Then, probably in about 9 months or so, you had several cars out. You had the same artist coming back with a different rendition of a card. And then you have a flood of those cars because production runs went up. You had a flood of those cars out in the marketplace, which drove prices down. And I haven't checked Project 70 cars in several months now, but the last time I did check them, buy the car. If you're talking about long-term investment, you got to think about, James, what kind of return rate you want on that card, or what are you thinking about? Is it realistic? What has it done over time? Over the last 6 to 12 months, what do you predict it's going to do in the future? Even if it's signed, do you have examples of other signed Topps Project 70 cars, and where are they sitting in the marketplace as far as a dollar value? You got to take all that into consideration, kind of churn it up in your blender, and then come out and ask yourself, is that the best long-term investment that I can make, or is there another? That's kind of the process that I go through. I may have 4 to 5 to 6 different scenarios on what do I want to invest in. And then I'll ask myself, what's the best thing for me to do at this time based upon the data that I've looked at, including dollar amounts over time? What's the population of this? If it's a slabbed autograph, like in the scenario that you just gave, what are the values of those slabs right now? Where do I see this stuff going? Now, I believe that there are a lot of cards that are signed slabs that are undervalued right now by particular athletes. But you got to, you want to dig in there, find out what's the athlete you're looking for. What are their cards doing? I hope that helps you with your question on Topps Project 70, but I think that's an excellent question to ask, because this is an example of a card launch that has changed significantly over time. All right, Sylvester Boston. I think they should do top 10 of each decade. Rules are different, and it's hard to compare different time periods. Well, from the NBA perspective, they're going to honor the players in a group mentality. Now, ESPN, I don't know the motivation behind their list, but these kind of things, we're always going to have our own list as fans of the game. We're always going to have our own list. When I look at wide receivers, there are just names that pop off my head: Jerry Rice, T.O., Randy Moss, Larry Fitzgerald. But I never forget other receivers that have been in the game, So I go historically. You can go all the way back. There were some receivers that were great at route running. They changed the game from the perspective of route running. Those players are always going to be on my list. They may not appear on someone else's, but this is always going to be a fan situation and a fan conversation about who is the best at something. I think when you get to certain areas like Brady at quarterback, that's pretty much locked in right now. Yeah, Brady at quarterback. Hold on. You all got me going right now. I'm so excited. I'm losing my voice. But yeah, like Brady at quarterback, right? We pretty much know that what he has done, he has solidified himself as the go-to that. But most of these positional players and a lot of different sports, the question is still for debate by the fans. Carmelo is still playing. Mike Davis, tell me more about that. Are you saying that that's going to affect he still has room for more greatness? Tell me what you mean by that. Like what him still playing. All right, Marcus, and MJ was easily the best easily. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, I remember as a kid, right? I walk in the living room. I'll tell y'all this story. I love telling stories, by the way. I think you know that. I walk in the living room and I tell my father, hey, there's a guy on TV that they're saying is probably going to be the best of all time. And my father looks at me and he says, who could that be? Because we already know Dr. J, and there's nobody better than Dr. J. And then he goes through, he starts telling me different games that Dr. J did this and he did that. And when he won a championship in the 80s. And then my father watches Michael Jordan for 3 quarters in a game. And he's quiet the entire game. Like he's just sitting there. Just sitting there watching with his hand on his face, just like this. And he turns to me every once in a while and says, he's all right. He's all right. Then he goes right back to watching. And by the end of that game, he was forced to say, this is a regular season game. This is not a playoff game. That's the thing about Mike Jordan, right? Michael Jeffrey Jordan played hard all the time. He would find ways to motivate himself. So my father had to say at the end of that game that this young man's going to be special if he can keep doing this, this, and this that I saw. He gave me 3 things. He's going to be special. And he could already see what Michael Jordan's jump shot was. And this was early in the years where his jump shot was not as refined as it was later in his career. Mike was taking the ball to the cup and just dunking on people and being real forceful to the paint. But he started working on a jump shot. Mamba's Marvels. I like that decision. Product 70 is a limited print run on every card. It's not as limited on some cards as others, though. Just you make sure you check the print run. Some are. I agree, Mambas. Some are not. Marcus, could you imagine if MJ had a goal, whatever? Ooh, we talk about this all the time. This comes up almost all the time. What if Jordan had a goal out of 10 rookie card. What would that thing be at? I was just talking to, I know you all have seen JD on here before, just talking to JD about this. We were kind of talking about what else on some stuff, and this came up. It brought back a memory. Sylvester Boston, do Draymond Green make the top 100? Yeah, I think he should. Yeah. Yeah, I think he should. He's still, I think, cementing some things right now. I think by the time Draymond Green gets through playing and Golden State gets through winning championships, he's going to be looked at as a real champion, someone that got it done on the court. Just the way he plays, though, opens up a lot of stuff for Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. You watch their offense and how it runs, he opens up a lot for them. The screens, when he passes the ball to them, how they're wide open or defenders running at them, he opens up a lot. Marcus, I don't know how you buy any other young player right now other than Joey B. Nobody has more success. Please don't sleep on Herbert, Marcus. Don't do that, because before you know it, you'll see Herbert in the playoffs, and it might be a year that you don't see Joey B. Just like this year with Herbert. They both are very talented. I think they're both going to do a lot of things in the NFL, and it's going to be good to see the passing the torch from the quarterback position with players like this, because they have talent. These organizations need to get more talent around them. Joey B needs a stronger offensive line than the one that he has right now. But I think they're both sound investments from a card perspective. I have one Joey B card. I plan to get more. I'm also looking at some Herbert stuff. So they're on my radar. Richard Perez. Larry Bird has 3 league MVPs. Yep. Curry has 2 league MVPs. That's why I put Bird on top 10. But you're right. Curry will surpass some players. So I think he will. But also, I looked up one day, right? I got real curious about, I know Larry Bird had injuries and it affected his game. And there were parts of his career where he was healthy and he was a phenomenal player. But Larry Bird is like in the 33 or 34 position all-time scoring in the NBA. And Richard, everybody out there, you let me know if that shocks you. That shocked me that he's there on all-time scoring in the NBA. And this is why I swapped. Like Larry Bird, before Curry started heating up in his career and doing certain things, Larry Bird was definitely in my top 10. I'm going to tell you that without a question. But now I have swapped him and Curry. No disrespect to Larry Bird, though. He's a phenomenal player. Marcus, you the man. Look, I appreciate it. I'll tell y'all more stories, right? I'm gonna start doing that. Tell you more stories, and these are all real stories, real things that have happened. When I was in college, we used to go to the student union building, and there was probably a group of, probably 6 to 8 of us, and there was some guys who played football. There was some guys who played. There was like 1 or 2 that played basketball, and then there was like 3 guys or 2 guys that were students. They didn't play a sport. And we would debate and talk sports all the time, in between classes, before practice, sometimes on a weekend. I can remember a time, and I told this story here at home, where we had 17 guys in someone's house on campus or right off campus, and we watched the slam dunk contest one year. And this was back when it was phenomenal slam dunk contest, right? And we're watching, and we would always debate sports. And this was a time where you had to know your stuff, right? No one really had no one had a cell phone, really. So you're not picking up a cell phone and, oh, really? Well, let me look that up. It was nothing like that. You had to know your stats. You had to know your players. Really about pre-research, and it was the people, guys and girls, because there was a young lady there who knew sports in and out. Watched sports with her father, grew up with her father watching sports, and talked about sports openly all the time. And knew her stats, could tell you what Warren Moon threw for, what Boomer Esiason threw for. So this has nothing to do with, and that's why anybody that's out there thinking that a young lady doesn't know sports, you're fooling yourself, right? So we would debate sports all the time. And I enjoy. That's why I enjoy these lives, because I just really enjoy talking to people about what's your opinion, what's my opinion, and then let's just talk about it, and in a healthy way, right? We're not. If someone tells me LeBron's number 2 all time, if someone told me LeBron was number 1 all time, after I got through laughing, right? Then yeah, I respect it. I respect it. But my first question would be, when did you start watching basketball? Because there's some stuff that Michael Jordan was doing early, even all the way up to 97, 98, you don't see today. You just don't see that. And you haven't seen it since 2003. You just don't see it. So I love these atmospheres where we can have conversations about different stuff. Ian Undercover, 30 of y'all haven't hit the like button yet. Please hit it. Please hit the like button. I appreciate that. Please do. It helps us interact, helps us engage, throw something to the algorithm. I appreciate it. Mama's Marvel's Kobe was a straight killer. Straight killer. He had a dog mentality on the court. And that's a good thing to me, because he believed that he could win no matter what was happening. He could get it done. And then as he became more, he progressed in his career, he knew that his teammates, that's why he took Pau Gasol. When they lost to Boston, he told Pau Gasol in the locker room some things. And then when the Olympic team won the gold medal, he offered Pau Gasol the gold medal to go ahead and take it home, so you can understand what it's like to win. And then when he came back the next year to try to get a championship, he was on Pau Gasol, because he knew that if that guy gets right, then we're going to be okay as a team, because I need my big man to be there with me. And Kobe started running, but he was a straight killer. Kobe's in my top 3. I respect that. He's in my top 5. I respect it, Jordan. When you give a ball to someone and they can shoot and dominate from anywhere on the court, and they don't have fear of putting that ball up, I gotta respect him. Mike Davis, Pau Gasol. Are you asking, is he top 100? Let me know what you're asking there. I had to think about that. If he's top 100, I don't know. We may have to get at that as another. I got to do some research, right? You challenged me, Mike. You have challenged me. I got to then do some research to see what this guy's career. He's a nice player. He's a great international player in the NBA. I had to think about that. I will think about that. Coffee Dad Collector, I agree with you on Ginobili and Park. Oh yeah, those players are phenomenal. But they're both low key, right? They both don't say a lot. There's no off the court things that's going on with them. That's nothing to just keep them relevant. If you don't love the game and know what they did, how fundamentally sound they were, then you kind of miss it on them. But you think you got Ginobili, Parker, and Tim Duncan. None of them want the spotlight. They just want ball. They just want to play ball. They don't want all the other stuff. They want to get out here and play. Something to be said for that. What'd you rank David Robinson? I got David Robinson top 25. Top 25. Coffee Dad, let me know what you have him. ESPN, because I looked it up today. So ESPN had him pretty low. Let's see here. David Robinson 25. Yeah, I have him top 25 as well. Richard Perez, Parker and Manu will get in the hall. Yes, they will. I can't wait to hear those speeches. They and Duncan are the trio with the most wins of all time playing together on the same team. Their international play is a factor. Yes. They're fundamentally sound. And that's the thing about a lot of international players. Like, even if you look at Luka Doncic, right? He moves and does things on the court unlike someone his own age in the NBA that was born in America. He's a fundamentally sound player. His jump shot, the way he rebounds, the way he'll take you off the dribble. He's just a fundamentally sound player. He's one of my favorite players to watch in a game. And I have less and less teams that I really like to watch in games. But he's there. Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan were literally 3 people apart. And they're going to stay that way. You let me know. Let me know out there. When's the last time you saw a highlight of Mike Jordan and Isaiah Thomas in the conversation? I'll wait. You just let me know when's the last time you saw Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas in the conversation? I'll wait. Isaiah Thomas, has kind of alienated himself with some people. So over time, some things were said, some things were done. And as a true Chicago fan, it's hard for me even. I'm not even a player. It's hard for me to cheer for Scottie. I mean, for Scottie Pippen is one person also that has some issues with Isaiah Thomas. It's hard for me. I respect Isaiah's game. I respect him winning 2 championships with the Detroit Pistons. I just can't go any further than that. Michael Ham, Fishing and Sports. Michael, how you doing? How you doing? Long-time supporter of Rolling with FD. I appreciate Michael so much. I want you to know that, Michael. What's going on, man? I really appreciate you. I can remember us just getting started out, and Michael was supporting. So I really appreciate you. Hey, Demetrius, what's going on, man? Thank you. FD is telling the truth. I appreciate you. I really do. It's always important when Demetrius is in the house, man. I appreciate you being here. How can they market Timmy D if he doesn't even smile throughout his career? Let me just say this. I want to say this in the right way. I played with guys who didn't watch football, but they were excellent football players. I played with guys who I played with a guy who I'll tell you this story, right? I played with a guy who was 135 pounds, 137 pounds. He could bench 315. Did not watch football. Was an excellent running back, and I blocked for him. And how he read my blocks and what moves he made were excellent. I'm pretty sure I knew his personality. If you put a microphone in front of his face, he wasn't saying a whole bunch. I've known other people when I was in high school who were good players who were progressing on the D1 schools. That's not their gift, right? We all have different gifts, and I think I would like for people to kind of respect the gifts that people have. We all have a different gift. So if that quarterback can throw the ball, or if a baseball player can hit the home run, doesn't mean their gift is to get in front of the camera and like talk a lot and say a bunch of stuff. And they just want to play ball. Tim Duncan is a guy who wanted to play ball. So as a fan, I want to see him play ball. He can say a little bit in the press conference. I'm fine with that. I just want to see him play ball. So we have a member of we got both coming in here. We have both. So we have Wiley and Alex here from Union Marketplace. Let me bring them in. What's up, fellas?
What's going on, FD?
How you doing?
What's going on?
We're rolling.
How we doing?
I'm excited to have both of you here. I'm really excited.
We're excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, people, we were just talking through. I know you all probably saw All-Star game last night.
Oh, yeah.
And saw the 75 presentation of the NBA 75 team. We were just talking through some of our players. Do we think LeBron is in the top 10? What do you all think? What do you have LeBron on your list of greatness?
Oh man, right out the gate.
Yeah, right out the gate, right?
Right out the gate, yeah. That's yeah, I mean for me, I gotta put him top 10. I don't think the league I don't think I've personally ever seen a specimen like that, like a physical specimen like that. Able to keep up with his body, able to do the things he's able to do on the court, statistic-wise. I mean, for me, you got to put him in the top 10. I think if you were to place him and drop him in any era, he's going to obviously dominate.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with that. I think even top 5 for me. And it's easy too. Maybe top 3 at least, actually. I'll put him that high, mainly because he's playing in 2 different eras. Early 2000s is a whole different field than how it is right now. And he adjusted his game, and he's still averaging almost 30 points a game. 5 or 6 rebounds, 5 or 6 assists every single time. He's still very efficient. I don't think we're really appreciating his greatness, and we won't actually understand it until he's gone. You know,
Yeah,
it's gonna be one of those
your
things.
point. You know, ESPN had him as number 2 behind Mike Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah, they announced that I think today.
I just see the talent being so insane nowadays. It's, you know, a lot of these guys that are not even in the top 20 for this day and age would easily be making so much noise in the 90s.
True.
You know, we almost every single team has their own Iverson, like with their moves but it all stems from the past, right? And you have to pay major homage to those guys that actually set that tone.
Yep.
But LeBron's able to do it through 2 different eras of basketball, almost 3 really. I think this new era that's coming up, anywhere from 2018 and above, this is like a whole nother beast of people to try to defend.
Yeah, like you see him playing with Garland the other day, and then you see him with Ja, and you think about when he started, where were those? You know, they were kids, so even if they were old, yeah.
Who was it? Jalen Green yesterday. They said a stat that kind of like blew my mind. He was born in 2002. LeBron James graduated high school in 2003.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, and they're playing in the league together, you know, and what's it called? So that to me is insane. To kind of see that.
I think he's playing with like a few of Bronny's old teammates. I know Zaire Smith.
Oh yeah,
was one of them. Yeah. It's kind of like that's got to be weird, you know. Like just thinking about playing with any of my kids at the highest levels would be nutty.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's a lot to be said, though. I think we're going to see a lot of players in the future take a lot of ownership in how they take care of their bodies. I think that's going to be you know, I don't think there was enough emphasis on that probably back in the day. I don't think the technology was there for one.
True.
The knowledge, the nutrition. I mean, so many different things. And I think he spends $1 million a year on his body.
A little over $1 million a year on himself.
Yeah.
He has a whole staff of people that.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. Kobe used to have to go to Germany just to get that kind of treatment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just outlandish for us to think that, you know, yoga and these mental, mental activities and things can actually help you in the long run. Dude's head is still touching the backboard, you know, easily.
Yeah.
And it's insane. So, how about you? Where do you got him?
I have LeBron at number 11. And that's because, and I'm talking about, and when I say that now, it's because of like skills of taking over the game anywhere on the court. So I have people like Oscar Robertson, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant at number 5. I have Tim Duncan in there. I just have Hakeem Olajuwon I have real high. There are players that I see that just could take the – but I always say this, right? We were saying this earlier tonight, that even if you're at number 11 – that's no disrespect to LeBron James.
No, not at all. Look at that. There's hundreds of thousands of people that play the game. You know,
and what's cool about it too is I come from. I was telling people when I grew up, we all had our own list. We all could talk about it. We all could say why we think that, and that's the cool part of it as far as being a fan. Is that I don't have to disagree with you, and Alex, I don't have to disagree with you. I respect what you're saying and why you're saying it, and what you all have said tonight. I can definitely see when it comes to LeBron. Longevity and how he's played the game and what he's done. I was the biggest LeBron James fan when he came. I had a job in Chicago. I'll tell this story. In 2002, and I go to work, and it was up by WGN station, TV station. And I go to a 7-Eleven that morning before work, and I see LeBron James on the cover of Sports Illustrated, right? And I had never seen a high school player on the cover of Sports Illustrated. So I buy that Sports Illustrated that morning, go to my desk, and at my lunch, I'm flipping through and I'm reading. And from that day on, I knew LeBron James had to be different. I started following him when he came out and got drafted. So I started following him the whole time. But I still think back on old players. And like Oscar Robertson doesn't have a lot of game footage out there, but he was a phenomenal player. So I just rank
dominant.
Him.
Yeah.
But let me ask y'all this, though. Let me change subject and ask you this. Tell everyone kind of how each of you got started collecting and what age you were. Walk us through the path of how this happened and up to today.
Oh, that's easy.
I really want to know.
I remember. So for me, I remember I used to go to this after-school program. It was called Drop-In. And it was, I remember it was like $1 a day. It was the alternative to like the YMCA at the time. And I used to bring my binder of cards, and we didn't care about what kind of condition it was. It was just having that card. And I remember Kobe. I must have been in fourth or fifth grade. Kobe, he was a rookie, so it was about that time. And I remember I just held on to Jordans every time I got a chance to get a Jordan. I would make any trade that I needed to make to get my Jordan card. And then I remember one day one of the leads, they called him. His name was Bishop, and he's like, yeah, this Kobe guy. They say he's gonna be the next Jordan, and I was like, the next Jordan? Like there's never gonna be another player like Jordan. Yeah. So, anyways, this kid on the playground. Long story short, he wanted one of my Jordan cards, and I don't remember which card it was specifically. But it was for Kobe, so I didn't know much about Kobe at the time. I knew he was going to be good. I remember hearing a little bit about the buzz and some of the kids wearing those Adidas shoes. I remember I thought they were the ugliest shoes at the time.
Oh, I thought they were ugly, and in friends I had, they were uncomfortable.
They're clunky.
But people
Yeah,
still
they're
rocking
big.
them though.
Yeah.
And that was another thing too. I like as a kid, I don't know why this played a decision or had any sort of impression on me, but the fact he was wearing Adidas, I didn't like that because it was all,
I agree.
It was all Nike, it was all Jordan. I remember I had the Griffeys at the time. I was rocking heavy with Nike, so just seeing Adidas was just kind of weird. And then the Moon shoes came out. But anyways, that was a real start for me of getting into collecting. Was on the playground at the after school program and just making just random deals, and then coming home telling my parents, my dad about it. And I'm sure he didn't care much at the time, but I remember if it was just that cool feeling of like almost being an investor, or I think the best way to describe it now is like almost like being a recruiter, recruiting talent and being speculative on this new kid, Kobe. And that was my first really introduction to the card game.
All right.
Yeah.
What about you, Wiley?
I like that. So I was always collecting, and I think my dad saw that at a really early age, whether if it was like collecting coins of something or collecting rocks from outside, even at like 3 or 4 years old. There was always something about collecting with me, and I remember I would go to the dentist, and he introduced me to like Marvel cards. Like which was back in like 90, I want to say like 1990 when they first came out, 1990, 1991. I was born in 1985, so I was like 5 or 6 years old, and it was about the time to get my teeth pulled. And I still remember it. It's wild because I'm like, my kids are that age now. I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. I'm like, oh, I better be careful with what I'm doing because they're gonna remember these things because I remember.
They will remember. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
And I remember my first ever pack of cards was actually one of those Propel X-Men cards, and what's it called? I was 5 or 6 years old, and then my dad was like, all right, you got to get your teeth pulled today. Can't do anything about it, or else you're just gonna keep being in pain. And he goes, I'll tell you what, if you get through the whole thing, I'm gonna buy you a couple packs from this card store, this comic store right next door. I'm like, cool, let's do it. So I agreed to it, obviously, and then as soon as I get out of the dentist, we walk right next door to the comic store. He buys me 3 or 4 of these packs of Propel. And then from that point on, the obsession of trying to collect sets and being able to like kind of do the research on why these cards have a certain value led into really the whole sports aspect of it. Because right after that, as soon as I turned 7 or 8 years old, I started playing a lot of rec ball. I was never inside. I always had a basketball or football with me. And I grew up in LA. So I grew up watching the Lakers. And my first ever PC was really Eddie Jones. Like I used to love Eddie Jones. I used to love collecting his cards. But we didn't have a lot of money back then, so I had to settle for like the collector's choice and the lower end brands.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just fun being able to try to save up some money and try to get a pack of cards. But Eddie Jones was my first collect until just like Alex was saying, freaking Kobe Bryant comes up. And I was different. Like I actually liked the reason that I started liking him more because he was wearing Adidas. And what's it called? It was probably because I couldn't afford a Nike back then. I couldn't afford Nikes back then. So I'm like, I could rock with this guy. It was Adidas, and I could, I'm like, I could afford Adidas. I could afford Converse right now. I can't afford Nike. So like, all right, this guy is cool. And ever since then, ever since I pulled my first Kobe card, it was always just like, I need every single one of his cards. This guy is just so fun to watch. And it just made like it just made me even, just enjoy it more every time I'd watch the game, because I feel like I own stock in his play. He's like, oh, he scored 30 points. Oh, he scored 15 points. Oh, he had a bad game. It's like my emotions were going around with my cards as well too, But that was like my first memory of collecting cards, was really the X-Men cards. That same behavior went into me directly into sports, just because I never left the house without some sort of like basketball or football in my hand. And I'm really bad at both sports, so I don't know why I even did that. But I tried. I tried hard though.
Well, I know when we were kids, those who were walking down the street bouncing a basketball, they could not play.
Yeah, I was that kid. I was that kid.
Yeah, Wiley. Yeah.
Oh man.
So now, tell me more about let's jump into the show that's coming up. Tell me more about the Del Mar show, and what made you pick that location, and everything that you want people to know about it.
For sure. Well, Alex and I are from San Diego. I grew up in LA, but I moved to San Diego during high school. I love the city. They call it America's finest city for a reason, and we're almost like a whole different state down here. I don't think people understand that. Like, there's LA, and I love LA. That was where I was born. There's Orange County, beautiful city as well too. But there's just nothing like San Diego, I feel.
There is nothing like San Diego. I would agree with that.
Yeah, and Alex and I, when we first had our show, we were kind of determined to bring something nice, bring the hobby community to a city that we love, which is San Diego. So Del Mar, the most iconic place out here, one of the most iconic venues you can go to, kind of just happened. It was perfect, actually. We literally manifest this into reality. But Alex, you can tell more, and I'll tell the whole manifestation side of it.
No, yeah, please do. You know how I feel about that term, but now sometimes you walk into things, you create kind of visuals and ideas of where you want to go and what you want it to be like. I think we did that with Vegas. Like, we really saw Vegas as being a cool opportunity when we first did that, to really include a lot of different amenities, like I was telling you last time, FD, and to be in a place where people, naturally flock. But it obviously comes with its challenges. And for us to be able to bring it back to, I've been here my whole life, since the time I was 4, to be able to bring it back home is a special feeling. And then also showcase, the Southern California card market. I feel like it's very, it's almost like we're still having to give the reasons to these guys from the East Coast to come out. We haven't really been known in the past to be the major powerhouse for, sports cards, and I think it's just taken a big turn from a while back, and I think it's all of our jobs to really showcase that, put on a good production. Obviously, continuing to have all these shows is a great thing. But I really, when we saw this venue, we knew this was going to be the one for us. And it just felt like such an iconic place. Me going to the fairgrounds, to the Del Mar Fair as a kid, it was like, okay, this is where I want to be, And lo and behold, this is where we ended up, and I'm really excited to be here. And I think it really has everything that you could want, not only from a card show standpoint, but just a traveling standpoint. If you're coming from the East Coast or anywhere around the world, really, you're going to be able to do some things in San Diego that you really can't do anywhere else, and a pretty close proximity as well.
And I've seen the video that you all have put out on Instagram of what the space looks like. It's very impressive.
Yeah, 100. Thank you. And, like I said, our biggest thing is we want to provide a very comfortable atmosphere for everyone. And that's our main goal. But, back to the whole manifesting this thing into reality, the way it really worked was, Alex and I had our first show was, at my barbershop. I'm a barber by trade. And so I have, a shop over here in Escondido. It's, 1,600 square feet. 1,500 of it is actually usable, right? And we used that as our first show. And from that point on, we always had that dream of like, we want to bring this to a big venue. And I remember looking at the Del Mar Fair and seeing the prices of how much it's going to cost to get there. And it seemed so unattainable, mainly because I'm like, we don't have a following. I had a hard time filling 10 tables with, what's it called? 10 tables, 4-foot tables, and only charging $40 a table.
Yeah.
And I had a hard time filling that. I almost had to give stuff away just to be able to fill 10 tables. So I'm like, how are we going to get to 350 plus? And you know, it's we kept our nose to the ground and just kept on saying, all right, well, if we could do 12 this time, we could do 20 next time. If we could do 20 this time, we could do 30 next time. And we just kept on using every penny that we earned back into the hobby, just so that way we can get to our ultimate dream, which is really hosting this large event for Southern California. But yeah, so it really was manifested into reality because it was a thought that we had from the beginning. And if it wasn't for that thought and that number in our head of saying, oh, we need to fill 350 just to even break even on this thing, you know, I don't think we ever would have tried to accomplish whatever we did even before in the past with Pachanga and Vegas and everything else. So
and it's interesting too, because there's always some validation from each and every show that we got, even from the very first one. I think Coleman Cars was at the very first barbershop show, which was
shout
like
out Coleman.
well,
Coleman's good people, man.
He's a goat. He's literally a goat.
Yeah.
At the barbershop show, and we're like, okay, that's a sign. That's a flicker of hope. Okay, let's go. Let's go to the next one. And then so many of these guys and girls, mind you, like we have seen just explode in the hobby, you know, and to know that, and to watch and know that, you know, their trajectory has just been like straight up. It was always been confirmation to keep going. Like we're doing something right. We're helping to create, you know, little staples in the hobby. And it was just confirmation. And even the last show, every show, there's some sort of confirmation of what we're doing, and we're doing it right. So, you know, it's been a learning experience for sure. There's always things that you learn in the event space. There's always things you learn just with anything you do in life. You want to take the things that you did well, continue to do them well, take the things that you maybe didn't do so well on, and make sure you master them. And not only that, we're going to shows constantly. So we're constantly, I don't think I'll ever be able to go to a show again like a normal person, unfortunately. But it's always seeing, okay, what's going on here? What could be done different here? I imagine it's probably the same way a movie producer goes to a movie. They probably don't watch it the same way as you and I do. But it's been a really cool experience. You meet so many cool people, like you, for instance, that man, it really solidifies and validates what we're doing. And it really drives us home. Like the monetary part of it really, at some point, it's just like, man, I love doing this. Like I love doing this, and I know if we stick to it and continue to create value, the dividends will come. Just keep doing it, keep going, see the vision through.
Now, there's something. Go ahead, Wiley. Go ahead.
Oh no, I just wanted to encourage anyone that's listening. If you ever aspire to, you know, open up your own show or start your own show, Alex and I are open books, man. So like, you know, let us know, hit us up if you have any questions. To us, it's never a competition. You know, it's not like that with us. We're called the union for a reason. We want to be able to help out, do our part in the hobby. So if you have a thought of trying to operate your own show, like let us know. We'd be more than happy to help you out. Maybe fast forward or, you know, fast track some of the mistakes that we made, so that way you guys don't have to go through it.
That's great. Thanks for putting that out there. Are there some things about this show that you want those who are thinking about coming or who are already planning to come to know, as far as amenities or what makes the shows a little bit different than other shows?
Yeah, we're like a block away from the beach. You know, it's crazy. It's actually, you could go on the other edge of the parking lot and you'll be able to see the beach there. This can literally just become you know, if you're doing your business right, this is a write-off for you guys. Might as well take the entire family and write off the entire trip. So that's one thing that is beautiful about the location that we're at, is that it's not just, you know, a card show. We're trying to provide a space where you can make it an entire week's trip, and not just a business trip. what's it called? Yeah, Del Mar's is beautiful. There's plenty of things you can do out there for sure.
Yeah,
But
the aerial pictures look phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Outside of that, we obviously the atmosphere is something big for us. We want everyone to feel comfortable, feel safe. I mean, we're gonna have armed security there, right? Just to make sure that everyone is good, because there's gonna be so much inventory going around, so many transactions happening on a every minute basis. So that's one thing. Comfort is another. I mean, 68,000 square feet. I don't think there's a show on the West Coast, on the whole West Side, that's as big as what we're trying to do right now. And we're going to try to make it comfortable for everyone in that 68,000 square feet. There's also going to be a lot of other activities outside of just trading cards. So that way you can have fun within the space. You can bring your family in. If they're tired of looking at cards, why don't you go shoot a couple baskets over here at this hoop that we have set up, So little things like that we're going to try to make accessible for everyone.
Very cool. So when you all grew up, you played any sports growing up?
Oh yeah. I played them all, FD.
What'd you play?
This guy played
football.
I sat
football.
the bench. This guy played.
Believe it or not, I played a lot of basketball. So I played a lot of AAU down here in San Diego.
Okay.
Growing up at Alliant University. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Played there. I played soccer, baseball was a big thing for me. But in high school, it came down to football, which my parents barely let me play. I had a lot of success in that, so I continued that. And then I obviously played basketball through high school, and then ran track, believe it or not. It's hard. You look at my figure now. I know. No one believes me. I ran the 400.
No, I wasn't thinking that.
I ran the 400, man. Listen, I ran the 400, the 4x4, the 310 hurdles, the 110 hurdles and 300 hurdles.
I'll give him that. He was always busy. He did beat me on one of the videos. So.
I know.
I saw you all racing. I saw that.
You know what? He's the one who started.
Push it 260. Push it 260, FD. I just line them up and beat them, man. That's what I do.
Oh man!
You just took the name off the list. Yeah.
Next time, I'm not going to let him have that head start. That's it.
I know. I got a little.
No, you're good. I mean, growing up, I was always just basketball was my main thing. It was the easiest thing I could play in my neighborhood. And then football came about. So high school, just freshman year, I only played basketball, football, and tennis.
Okay.
And then after high school, that's when I got into jiu-jitsu and started really enjoying that. Now my kids are doing it. So it's pretty awesome to be able to see that as well. I mean, MMA cards or UFC cards are becoming really big nowadays as well, too. And it's kind of cool to see and being able to relate to some of these UFC players. Not in that sense, but what's it called? It's kind of cool to collect other sports as well too.
Understood. So who is your favorite?
If I can go back in time, FD, I'll tell you what.
What you got, Alex?
No, go ahead. Well,
no. You say you want to go back in time.
Go back in time, that would be. If I could go back in time, to be completely honest, I think I would probably do chess club because I love playing chess now. It's one of my favorite things to do with my dad.
Yeah.
We, especially it rebooted it during quarantine. We were playing every day. We were just putting. At one point, we were like so hand in hand. We put like $20 a game. We were playing $20 a game, and it just reignited my love for chess because that was something we did when I was a kid. We used to play a lot of chess, and
I did the same thing.
Tennis would be another one that I think I would go back into.
High school. Yeah.
Tennis was hard, dude. Tennis was hard. I'll tell you
Tennis
that much.
Rough.
Yeah, for sure.
I love tennis. That's a great. And racquetball is another one, man. Racquetball is, man. I've got smoked by like 70-plussers, dude. Just precision, accuracy.
It's art, right?
They have you
angle
running
off
all
the
up
wall.
and down.
Where's the ball?
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like
now I just watch
geniuses, geometry geniuses, man. I tell you.
Yeah, we used to play racquetball a little bit in college, like in the wintertime to get in shape. When it was cold outside, you didn't want to run, so you would go play racquetball.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad got really into it in the Army when he was stationed all over. He was really big on racquetball, so I picked that up a little bit later in life. I'm not very good still, but it's a great workout.
That's a great workout. Get your heart rate up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So, who are you all's favorite? I know Wiley, you like the San Diego or now the Los Angeles Chargers. But who's your favorite football team?
Yeah, that's mine right there. I'm still a Charger fan. Even when I was in LA, so even growing up in LA, we had the Rams and we had the Raiders growing up. But my dad was originally from San Diego and he moved down to LA. So he was like, "Nah, dude, you're a Charger fan." I'm like, "All right, I'm a Charger fan." So I got a lot of stuff during, elementary while we were watching the other teams out there, and what's it called? But it's okay. I'll take it.
Yep.
So Charger fan for sure.
Yeah, I am definitely a Charger fan since the Bobby Ross, Natron Means days,
Are you
the
going back? Yeah.
Stan Humphrey, John
Mhm.
Carney.
Man.
I've been down there. I was number 55 in football because of Junior Seau.
Yeah, Uncle Rigo.
I was
Uncle
definitely
Rigo.
100%. Oh no, he gives me a bunch of shit. But I got to bet to somebody. I used to be an athlete, man. Trust me.
I used to wear 52.
My son don't
just
believe
like
it either. Yeah, throw this football over the mountains over there.
Uncle Rigo.
But yeah, definitely a Charger fan, and it's cool to see them, man, because we've had some very down years. I almost think this team,
Yeah,
it's
Yeah,
cursed
it's cool.
sometimes because it's like the same story, bro, every year. But it's cool to see the resurgence of the Chargers, and I think they have a bright future ahead for sure.
Yeah, they have a lot of talent on the team now. When you get a quarterback like Herbert, you get some of the wide receivers that he has. It's a nice team.
Oh yeah.
I grew up a Chicago Bears fan, right? I'm still a Bears fan, even though the Bears are not that great at all. But I still root for the Bears. A lot of times I'm more frustrated than anything.
Oh yeah. I think a lot of us are. There's probably 20 teams in the NFL that feel the same way as we do. There's really only 10 that are pretty consistent when it comes down to winning, and it's like, at least we're not going through it ourselves. At least we're not Jacksonville, right?
That's right.
Yeah, at least we're not Jacksonville. So
there's no history at all. Yeah,
oh no.
So let's talk to hobby a little bit. What are some cards that you are looking at, or that you want to add to your PC or your personal collection, or some things you already have in your personal collection that you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really big on just UFC cards right now. Obviously, there's stuff that I still want. My ultimate grail and my chase is still a Kobe's credentials. It's my favorite Kobe rookie card. If I can't get that, because I know that is a pretty penny, I'll probably go for a Kobe Stardate, EX Stardate.
A great card as well.
Yeah, that would be a grail of mine. For LT, I really just want like a gold refractor possibly, or some sort of numbered refractor of LT. I prefers in BGS 10, but I know that's like asking a lot. So those are just grails, and I know it's going to take a lifelong time for me to get them, but those are a couple that I want. But personally, right now, what I'm aiming for is I just like UFC a lot right now. It's fun.
Great cards, says.
Yeah, I'm really big on soccer. I'm really big on soccer FD. I like. It's crazy because yeah, it's just I just think they're really undervalued, and anytime I see that, and I've always liked this sport. I don't know a whole lot about it. I'm very still in kind of my beginning stages of it, but I just started loving them. I don't even know. So I'm really big on like Phil Foden. I'm really big on Kamavinga, Jude, there's Harry Kane. I think there's a lot of talent, and I really truly believe that we're gonna see eventually someday that the United States really adopt soccer in a fashion that we haven't seen. I really truly believe that. Why we're so late to the party, I have no idea. But I think the World Cup coming up could propel that easily. And if I'm looking at investing in kind of cheaper cards right now, I think it would probably be soccer.
The Chargers say they need. Marcus says the Chargers needs Alex.
Alex, man, they need you, bro.
Get him in there.
Yeah. I'm a middle backer, man. I can be there, no problem.
Uncle Rigo.
But players in the NBA, Uncle Rigo. I'll give you
Wally Marcus had a question for you. What do you think about Joe Jones?
Joe Jones, maybe Joe Jones or John Jones.
Yeah.
I think it's probably
John
John
Jones.
Jones, right?
John Jones, yeah.
If it's in regards to John Jones, I'm thinking that guy is, man, if he just stays out of trouble.
Yep.
I'd buy his cards right now. He's lined up for a really big fight. It's probably going to be with either Stipe, a really big contender for the heavyweight. I don't think he's going to go back down to 205 right now. It's just too small of a division, and he's bulked up, dude. John Jones is probably walking around right now 260, 270.
He's that big now?
Yeah, I mean, his brothers both played in the NFL. Both are close to 300. It's in his genetics, they're just big boys.
Yeah.
And so he used to have a hard time cutting down to 205, but he did it. So I see him fighting Stipe, putting a working on him, probably be the next man up, fighting either Gane or Gain for the title. So if that happens, yeah, I'd just buy John Jones cards right now, as long as he could stay out of trouble. Hopefully he does.
Yeah, hopefully he can, because in the ring, in the octagon, he is phenomenal. So Flea Market Sweepstakes says in 2018 Topps Chrome, McGregor is a bad card.
Oh yeah, that is definitely a bad card for sure. I mean, honestly, any McGregor card is actually pretty cool. I feel like he just knows when the shot's going to happen, and he doesn't have one bad pose in any of his current cards right now, too. But I think his rookie card is, I want to say, 2016 Blood. I forgot what it was, but it was actually super popular. So look for their rookie cards. Topps Chrome is kind of hard to find their rookie cards. If you don't, it's only 2018 is when they started putting the RC logo on the rookie cards for fighters.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was Topps Museum that had 2017 with the RC logo on it. I mean, to me, I want the card to say rookie card on it. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, like my prized possession right now, even though he's injured, but he's also one of my favorite fighters, and that's the collector side of me, is Max Holloway. He's not, being Filipino, I'm not really from Hawaii, but he's the closest I got in the UFC right now.
Yeah.
So what's it called? Seeing him, and I have his gold auto to 25, and it says right there on the card, says first autograph as well too, as part of the Topps Finest, and that's probably one of my prized possessions that I probably can never let go. So, but I usually bring it to the shows just to kind of see if anyone makes a ridiculous offer, and I'll still probably turn it down.
Understood. Now I usually get Will has a question here about Marvel cards. I really get a lot of questions about Marvel cards. What are your thoughts on Marvel cards and their, I guess, collectability or future growth potential in the market?
Influencer bubble, huh? Yeah, I mean, I definitely see that for sure. But PMGs, I think everything is an influencer bubble, though, isn't it? Because the only thing that you can base a market off for Marvel is really what everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
It's not like sports, or that's the reason why I love UFC so much, is because I know this guy is fighting in 3 weeks or 4 weeks. If I have to unload it, I can unload it, right? Or if I want this card before he becomes a champion, I want to buy it now before they announce his championship fight.
Yeah.
With Marvel cards, Pokemon cards, all this is everything that's not a real person, that doesn't have a daily a daily statistic that we can base their value off of it. I think that's the only way to really give its market value is through everyone's influence. So if someone that's hot in the market is saying, I'm buying all these cards, and you believe them, who's to say he's wrong, right? Maybe he's right. So yeah. So, but ultimately it goes down to like what my guy Mark always says from Ultimate Pastime. Buy what you like, what you believe in, and you can never go wrong. You can never go wrong with that. And that's both in investing and also in what's it called, in PC, right? Yeah, you're not going to buy a house that you're not going to enjoy living in.
I say that all the time. To me, it's all about buying what you like and then putting some kind of research in to understand what are you buying.
Yeah.
And where's the price at on that? And then, just understand the market itself before you really jump in there and start making a decision.
So how do you base some of your decisions when you're purchasing something and what is it that you're looking to buy right now? What are some of the things you're looking at?
So I'm looking at kind of where's the card been historically. So I may look back 12 to 18 months. What's the slope of the line on the curve of that card? Where's the card going? What's happening with it over time. Then that gives me an indicator of where's the right time to buy. So I may have some cards that, like some of the stuff that we talked about today. There may be some cards that I'm thinking about, but I'm still doing research on. And then some may bump up into this may be the time to buy that card. So I need to understand what that is. And then what are the cards that I want to purchase and why? Like I try to spend more time on something that may be rare than other cards. It could be population. It could be a printed card with a number of the print run is actually on the card. And then who is the player? Where is that player's career going? Then I start actually doing a lot of research, watching that person play. Like I throw in the actual sport view. What do my eyes tell me when I'm watching this person play their respective sport? And then do they remind me of someone? I start asking a lot of questions, and I've talked to other people where I may ask the question like, "Who does that player remind you of?" just to understand where is their career kind of going. What attributes? If they're a point guard, what do they do as a point guard that somebody else may have done in the past? If they're a player that has their own game, like if somebody would ask that about Michael Jordan, right? He kind of has his own game. When Shaq came out, somebody asked that, he's kind of doing his own thing. Then I go through a whole thing, Alex. I put them in a whole nother realm of analysis now because they're their own kind of player. But then how does their career progress? Are they going to the Pro Bowl? Are they going to an All-Star game? Are there points when they get to the playoffs? If they're playing basketball, do they increase or do they decrease? If I have a player that's 17 points a game, does he go down to 13 because he went to the playoffs? Can he help or she help their team win something? If you start checking all those boxes, then you're getting into a legendary status, and I'm really going to start understanding where your car is going.
Do you ever factor in the marketability of a certain player? Like, do you ever look like?
To me, marketability and likability are very important. Before y'all got on, we were talking about Tim Duncan, right? Tim Duncan is a player that historically didn't want to go to a press conference and talk to people. He kind of had a phobia of that. And he's talked about that. He worked to get better at that, but it's still not at the level of LeBron James, who socially can be out and talk to people and do certain things that you really won't see Tim Duncan doing. So that kind of stuff affects. Like you talk about a Steph Curry, right? He's very marketable. He says the right things. He approaches things the right way. He's doing work in the community. When you start checking all those boxes, that's a player that I believe you can latch on to for a long-term investment because they're going to do stuff in the future that matters even after they get off the court. Like I foresee Steph Curry, LeBron James doing major things off the court when they're done with sneakers on their feet.
Oh yeah. That's like back to what Alex was saying earlier is that we all become like, this is where it becomes really fun as a collector. You get to become a recruiter. Yeah. You know, like Alex said it earlier, it was perfect when he said, we get to be recruiters now. We get to kind of judge the talent and put our own money where we feel like it's going to be best.
That's right.
And, you know, I mean, this is an investment of some sort, whether if it's a PC that you want to hold on to and give to your kids or something you want to hold on to until the playoffs. But ultimately, it's something that you're putting your money where your mouth is, right? When it comes down to what you're actually buying. Sure. And that's when it becomes really fun. It's like, all right, cool. You know, that's why try not to buy anything you don't understand. Like for me, I'm not going to touch soccer because I don't understand it. Yeah. You know, and Alex tried to get me into it. I'll even probably join a couple of breaks to kind of try to understand it, but it didn't catch my interest enough. I'm like, man, I just keep gravitating towards basketball. I keep going towards what's it called? Towards UFC. So understanding your lane where you want to stay is okay. There's nothing wrong with having to go to other than that. You could just stick to one lane and there's nothing wrong with it.
And that's the cool thing about collecting because there's so much out there.
So much.
Everybody that you can find what really interests you and then get into it and start understanding the nuances of it. And then you should be good to go. But I think a lot of collectors, if I like basketball and Alex may tell me about soccer and I know nothing about soccer, and then he tells me, well, you should go buy XYZ player. Then I go buy that player. And maybe my expectations on return are different than Alex's, right? So he may find someone that he's like, okay, I think that's a good investment. He makes it. He's good with the return that he gets. This other person may be like, oh, I was expecting more. then they're a little bitter when that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
It affects
It's
the
almost
eye.
like giving like financial advice,
Yes.
when it's like you want to
I
do the
guarantee you this will be
disclaimer.
10x. No.
Yeah.
This
I'll
is not
never
financial
say
advice.
some shit. Not financial advice. But what's really interesting, FD, with your top 10 players, I think almost everyone that you mentioned, for me looking at basketball, when I'm looking at a player and I see this young talent, and what I'm looking for, footwork. So almost every one of those
Footwork is
players that you
crucial.
said has incredible footwork. So you look at Olajuwon, for instance. There's still guys that go to him. He is like the footwork master.
Yeah.
You have Nowinski, Dirk. I think you had, who else did you have on there? You had Tim Duncan, obviously.
Tim Duncan.
The footwork for me is something when I'm watching basketball, I want to make sure that if their footwork's Kobe, a mastermind footwork.
Kobe was a
MJ,
master. The way beautiful art. It's like art in motion.
It literally is poetry in motion watching these guys' footwork. And I think you saw, the only person I really saw emulate Jordan was Kobe. And some of these guys are just freakishly athletic. Like, let's say, take a Russell Westbrook. Athletically, just probably the most athletic player I've personally ever seen. Maybe like a prime D Rose, only other explosiveness. But finesse-wise and just the way they're able to really, the angles they take, everything is just a science. And I really look for those kinds of things. And I see that a little bit in Jordan Poole, guys like that.
I see it in Jordan Poole as well. Yep.
And those are the things that really stand out to me when I'm looking at young talent.
But see, that's the eye test I'm talking about. When you're watching the sport, you see that. But there are a lot of people that collect, and it's nothing bad against them. They don't really watch that sport. They don't really get into that. We were talking before you came on about Kareem as Lou Alcindor in his first couple of years with Milwaukee. If you go back and look at YouTube tape of him, his footwork is phenomenal. When he gets the ball cross court in the post and they give it to him, and then how he sets up, he's setting up the sky hook but at least 3 to 4 steps before he even shoots the sky hook.
Yeah.
You just don't see that, And a lot of players today, I don't think they really get trained that way. They're 1 year out of high school, they're into the NBA, so then they need to learn over time. But you can even see Giannis is getting better at how he positions himself and what is he doing with his feet, and has his body react to that than he was years ago.
I think Giannis is going to be top 10 great in one.
I believe so too.
Here because he's 26, 27 years old, and dude is just evolving. He's got a 3-point shot now. Like he's like you saw him in. Everyone yesterday was just passing the ball lightly, having a good time. I don't want. This is a business call for me. I don't want to get injured. Giannis is running up and down. This guy has only one motor, and what's it called? But it's. If he keeps at that, and also with the same intensity that he wants to keep getting better, I don't know anyone that's going to be able to stop that guy.
Yeah, he's able to evolve like some of these other guys, because we see a lot of guys at an older age when that athleticism starts slowing down. The true great ones, they make the adjustments, and you'll see other parts of their games just like explode.
True. What do you think is the prime age then for basketball?
Honestly, I would say in closing in on 30. You start really having
29.
Exactly. Closing on 30. And then by their 30s, you'll I think they really have a grasp on being productive on the things they probably weren't at a young age. Like really understanding it. They're kids. I mean, they're still learning.
IQ,
a lot of these guys were like they were reliant on sheer athletic ability.
Yeah, 100%.
Like LeBron.
Like
between 30 and 35 is when we find out who's a legend.
Yeah, I mean, look at like DeMar DeRozan right now, right? DeMar DeRozan is 32, 33 years old, but the game seems so slow for him now.
Yep.
Like like everything was just like his wisdom within the game just kind of all clicked. He's always been an awesome player, and I've always followed his career because he was from LA. So I was like with Toronto, I'm like, dude, he got them first place twice. Like he went to the Spurs that was just full of brand new players that just had no which was just opposite of what Popovich is so used to, but there was no chemistry whatsoever, and like he was thrown into there, and now people are wondering where he came from. But this guy was a killer. DeMar DeRozan was a killer, and I could see he actually just use his wisdom to slow down the game, and that mid-range game that he has now is just unstoppable. So
But you got to think he came out the same year as Curry and
2009. Yeah,
that's right, Blake
Harden,
Harden, and his career, their career started taking off. His career was stagnant a little bit, and it seems like when he got to the Bulls, he decided, I'm about to start playing some ball right now.
I think he just knows that Father Time is going to be catching up. He goes, you know what? I'm just going to risk it all. I mean, this is probably going to be the best team I'm going to be on from now on. You know, and might as well do it. I mean, that squad looks scary. I think they could easily. I mean, Lonzo's not even playing. Caruso's not playing. Those are two really good defenders, and you don't need any more offense with Vucevic. What's it called? Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. And you got Kobe White coming off the bench, scoring 20 points. That's a scary
his
team.
His mid-range game and his three-point shooting is phenomenal.
Yeah. Actually, is that your basketball team right there from Chicago?
Yeah, I root for the Bulls.
All right.
Yeah, I like Kobe White.
Go to the playoffs. I believe they could be an Eastern Conference Finals team. I just want to see them.
I think they could. I think they should. They should. Hopefully. Yeah.
And most definitely. We got a question here from Superbad asking me, what's your next Curry purchase? I don't have anything Curry related right now on my radar. I always keep my eye open to some things. I found a decent Curry card at the Newport show, but I try to walk into a show with my mind open on what I could find there, ask a lot of questions, walk around, talk to people, and then just take it from there. I try not to walk into a show saying, I'm looking for Curry today, because you never know what you might see while you're there, or what somebody may have behind them that's not even on the table.
So do you have a game plan, though, generally for what it is you're going to do going into a card chart, or are you kind of just rolling?
I have those. I've done a lot of research before I get there on different players.
You can definitely tell for sure.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Clicking those boxes on attributes that we talked about. So and then there's certain cards that I could look at that I already know what they're priced at by a certain grade. So when I see it on the table, I pretty much know what I'm thinking the price is. Then I start talking to the vendor about what they're thinking. But there are some cards that sometimes I see and I have not seen before. Like they're rare to see. So then when I see those, I get excited. But yeah, I mean, you got Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, you have Steph Curry, you have we talked about like Poole, and there's some other younger players that where their career is kind of going. And then I also, in my mind, I have there are some cards that when they get so expensive, they're out of my price range. And I'm a collector where I don't have a problem letting that go. Like, there are some people you can talk to that they're still chasing something, and it's like way into the stratosphere what that card was. Then I'm going to reset myself and focus on I have like a curve in my head on price, right? So I reset myself on price pertaining to that player's cards, and then I'm back focused on that now. And once that card gets way out of my stratosphere. And then you always got to look and say, okay, Mike Jordan, we know who he is. We know Kobe, we know LeBron. But there's somebody coming up that's the next great player of this generation. Who is that player? And there's a funnel in my mind, because there are a lot of players you can drop in, but only one or two every 20 years are going to fall out. Who's like on that top 75, going to be on the top 100 list? Who are those players? Can you predict who they are? And that's kind of where you want to spend your time. So that's why I don't have an issue letting certain things go to focus my strategy on certain things that I think I'm making a prediction on what I think is going to happen.
That's one thing about the show experience as well too, and like always advice that we tell everyone is obviously first come in, have fun is number one. Yes. But number two, if you're in there with a sense of like, if there's a purpose to it, stick to it. Definitely do your research, like you were saying. That's so important, and I think people get taken advantage of sometimes when they don't know. Sometimes they're even bringing in cards of their own, and they don't even know the value of them. Like take the time, just comp them out, so that way when you approach a vendor at a show, you can have an actual presentation. Yes. Right? Like, here's my cards. This is the value of them. What's your take? Would you like to buy one, trade? How can we make something work? Yep. But for me, I like playing inner games within the show. And what's it called? One of our customers, he he told me his strategy. I'm like, damn, that makes so much sense. He goes, I buy raw. I only buy raw, and I buy them to grade them. And when I grade them, I want to make sure that if it nines, I at least get my grading money back.
Yep.
So if he spends $100 on PSA, he's gonna get, and if he spent $200 on that card's now worth $300. Okay, he's breaking even. Because anything above that, now he is, what's it called? Now he's in the green.
Yeah.
So I started that. I actually started that that whole thing at Newport show as well too. I was like, all right, I'm gonna have my mind set on. I want to buy some raw cards. I want $1,500 worth of raw cards that I want to buy, and whether it be $300 or $400 a piece or whatnot, but that's what I wanted to spend. So for that show, out of that $1,500, I spent not 1,500. I only spent 500 of that. And then the following show, we went to Cardstock and walked around, did my whole thing. Alex was watching our booth, right? And I was like, all right, I found cards that I wanted. It was the LaMelo Ball Blue Chips white to 25, Desmond Bain blue to 99, and what's it called? Lonzo Ball Kaboom. And I felt, okay, at minimum, these should get a 9. So at worst case scenario, if I submit them and they all get 9s, all 5 of those cards now, 2 from Newport, 5 from what's it called? 3 from Cardstock.
Yeah.
All 5 of those, all right, is $1,500 plus the $500 that it costs to grade them. So I'm at $2,000 in now. I just got those cards already popped, and I got the grades back. That LaMelo just paid for everything right by itself, because it came back a gem. Yeah, it came back a gem. One of the other cards that I bought that was raw, I was like, even if this 9s, it's still going to be a $1,500 card. Boom, it ended up getting a 9. So that entire investment with that purpose of I'm just going to come in here buying raw unless I find a killer deal on a slab is something that I think a lot of people don't have the time to do and look at. They're just looking at slabs. Raw matters sometimes. So
does matter.
Sure,
yeah, I definitely advise
especially
people to look
with the
into those dollar
grading costs
boxes
right
for sure.
now, man. It's like that's kind of my strategy. But that's what mine has been too. Is really finding cool, unique stuff raw. I think I was Wiley knows, but at the Las Vegas show, I found a Devin Booker RPA, and I was like, okay, this is I like this card. So he wanted, I think it was like 250 or something like that. And I'm getting, I think, for like 225, whatever.
And
was
a
a
shirt. You gave him a shirt. It was 225, and you gave him one of those shirts.
Shirt, and I think I gave him like one of those card cases,
briefcases.
Yeah, and it was a Booker out of 149 RPA. It's like it's pretty good. I saw one maybe minor flaw, but I was like, okay, just get the 9. This is I'm gonna make some money on it. Ended up gemming. Sold on Golden for like $3,000. So
there you go.
Nice
finding
ROI.
little thing. And it was at the end of the show, like on the Sunday, the third day of the Las Vegas card show. And so it must have been there all weekend, unless he brought it in the last day, towards the end of the day. So I'm thinking, like, how many other deals like this did I miss out on?
Right.
Not just taking the time. It was just
That's a sound strategy. Yeah. Yeah, even when I did a comedy show, I picked up a James Wiseman card, and I stood there and looked at that card, looked at the surface, looked at the corner. This card was raw. Looked at the back, and then started negotiating. Yeah, I would say never look over a raw card, and don't be afraid to go through price bins. You never know what you could find.
Yeah,
that is 100%.
Oh, for sure. I'm actually picking up those 5 cards tomorrow at PSA. So can't wait. There you go.
So how do you do it, Wally? Do you drive them down and then go pick them up?
Yeah. So the whole card thing started off with my other company, which is Nostalgic Avenue, and we have a grading service. So what we do is I have a rep at PSA, go directly to PSA headquarters, drop off our cards, and then I pick them up. So I go twice a week. I usually go on Monday, but they're closed today, so I'm going to go tomorrow. I'll probably be back there Thursday to pick up some more orders.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So tell people more about that. If they're interested in grading cars, how do they get in contact with you? What do they do?
It's easy. So our website's nostalgicavenue.com. Everything is on there. So we have 2 different services. One is just a submit all for $5 a card. And what we do is we'll just clean, prep it, and then ship the card out to whatever grading service you prefer. And then our other service, which is the white glove service, that's a full inspection with the card. So that way you have subgrades of our own, a nostalgic subgrade, I guess you could say. So that way you could have a better idea on, should I spend $150 to grade this card or not? But we do all the main ones: SGC, PSA, BGS. Yeah, we've been subbing now for a little over a year.
Very cool. Very cool. It's good knowledge. Everybody knows.
Oh yeah, 7 Jordan pool rookies.
7 Jordan pool rookies in $1 box.
Oh yeah.
Never
there you
pass.
go. Alex will buy them for me for $5 a piece now.
Yeah.
Jordan Poole is a baller though. I like that guy.
He is a baller. I think. When Clay came back, I was very interested to see how would he take that.
Yeah.
He's been very mature about it. When he comes in the game, he's playing his role. He's still aggressive.
Yeah.
But you see a professional manner about him, and he's not pouting or anything like that. And I think Kerr is probably telling these guys that, hey, when we get to the playoffs, there's like 4 or 5 players on that team that are going to shine in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
And Poole's going to be one of them.
That's a scary team. It's a
very.
I just love that the NBA is not predictable this year. You know, like it's not predictable. We don't know who's going to make it to the finals. A lot can happen, which is so exciting about the NBA right now. So can't wait.
Well, we know that CP3 is out hurt 6 to 8 weeks with a hand.
I saw that. He cannot stay healthy. What is he used to be one of my favorite players back in like when he first got in the league. I was like, okay, this guy reminds me of Iverson, and Iverson was kind of like my guy back in the day. And that he had that crossover. He was just all around. But I want to see him win championship because I like CP3.
Yeah, I do too.
But he just can't seem to stay healthy. It's sad. The last couple of years have been sad to watch. Having get so close. I wanted the Suns to win that year.
He should have won one with Kobe. I'll tell you that much. He should have won.
Yeah, don't get me started on that.
Bro. Block that
all right. Oh my god. How the hell? All right, let's not talk about that. We're on a positive note right now, right?
That's right. Well, Superman asked a question. There's some big car shows coming up in San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh yeah.
Are you guys going? I'm still kicking around if I'm going to the April show.
I'm going. We're both going. Alex and I will be there with Dion and what's it called? That's going to be an amazing, epic show as well too. I love what he's doing down there, up there. You know, like he's killing it. And there's that other show as well too.
San Francisco Card Show.
Yeah, the San Francisco Card Show. That's the other one as well too. They have great productions up there. And, yes, we will be there first week of April. We already booked 2 tables, so we're good.
And that show at the first week of April is in Hayward, right?
Hayward, yeah.
Hayward, California. All right.
Yep. Oh, I got to get a room now. Damn, I got the tables, now I got to get the room. So
I need to do the same thing for the Del Mar show. I think we're going to sit down there in 2 days.
Oh, we got you. We'll take care of you. We'll figure something out.
Oh, yeah. I want to talk to you all about that. I'll send you all a message.
We'll get you guys, the penthouse suite overlooking the ocean, all right?
All right.
Yeah, that'll be on Wiley. That'll be on Wiley for sure.
Oh, man.
All you can eat too, man. Order whatever you want. He'll give you his credit card. He's good.
I thought Alex was going to volunteer. I guess he's not, so.
Alex, you got to hook me up.
It'll be fun for sure. So you've been collecting for a long time now as well too? FD?
I've been collecting since I started collecting cars when I was 8 years old.
Okay.
And I started collecting autographs when I was 13 years old.
Cool.
And then I took maybe 2 or 3 breaks because of school or moving at some point in life, but they were short-term breaks. Then I was back to collecting something.
Uh-huh.
I've always loved sports cars. I really got into autographs for like 5 or 6 years, really hard. Well, I would go to a show and meet an athlete and then want them to sign something in a unique way, usually with inscriptions involved.
Cool.
I did that for quite a while.
Nice.
So I've met a lot of athletes along the way, a lot of people who have passed away now, a lot of Hall of Famers. I met a lot of people over time, and it's someone asked me the question the other day, how do I react when you meet someone famous or does it make you nervous? And I gave them the answer that it does not, because I get more nervous when I meet someone who did a lot off the court or off the field to progress people in some kind of way. Now, if I meet that kind of person, then I'm like in awe, right? You gave up yourself. You probably lost money. Your contract was affected, stuff like that. That blows my mind. But if I meet somebody who is a great player, I like athleticism. So we talked about big men, moving feet, things like that. Now I get like a guy like Bo Jackson. When I met him, I was like, wow, this guy's some of the stuff he can do physically is crazy. But for the most part, I like to get into a conversation with athletes and talk about different things, even when I'm getting their autographs. So there are several good conversations I've had with people over time. But you meet someone like Jerry Rice, Jim Brown, those kind of people will talk to you about anything under the sun. Jerry Rice, you can have any kind of conversation with about anything, and he's there and he's engaged in the conversation. You may meet some other athletes who are only there for the hour that they're required to be there. So I find those people who really want to engage in the conversation, and then I'm talking to them.
Yeah,
you'd be surprised. There's a lot of them too. I feel like I've met a lot. I go to a lot of different golf tournaments and events, and I've met a lot that are like, I'm like surprised at how willing they are to talk. You know, even my number one with Kobe, it was his jersey retirement game. I had a chance to talk to him, and I was just like, bro, what? Like, why are you talking to me right now? You know, like, this is your party. He took the time and he gave it. It was in true Kobe fashion, you know. And I won't get into detail. I always keep that between Kobe and me, but it was like a true Kobe fashion answer, and I was like, damn. And another really cool one was with Caruso, and it was when he was hopping between the G League and being actually on the squad. And that was a really cool perspective that he had on things in the league and his future. You know, I think he was really kind of wondering, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not sure, you know, if I'm going to. So to see him transcend into the player that he's become, and I saw it too. I saw it back then. I'm like, this dude he's every coach's dream, right? Every loose ball, he's diving. He's giving 100%, and defensively, he's a menace. And I feel like he's going to make the right decision more times than not. So I really saw that, and it goes back to our recruiting talking. It's like I knew he was going to make it. I didn't think he was going to be an absolute superstar, but I really had confidence that he was going to make it, whether it be Los Angeles or another team, because he's just that guy. You can count on the hustle for every loose ball, like a Rodman type. You know what I mean?
True. But you know, those are the things that's cool about meeting an athlete in person, because those memories, like you're talking about Caruso and Kobe, you'll never forget that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like it usually comes down to a one-on-one situation. Even though there may be a lot of people around, or if you go to an autograph signing, people may have left. But if you engage, I found that if you engage the athlete in a real conversation and talk to them about something, and I used to do a lot of research on who I'm about to see. And if you can talk to them about something in their career that most people don't talk about, they're like, wow, you know, they're humbled by that, and they want to talk to you more.
100%. I mean, they're humans too. At the end of the day,
yeah, they're human beings.
They're human beings, and you know, I think if I hit a certain zenith in my career athletically, I think those conversations would mean a lot that had pertained nothing to do with sports, right? Like I would like someone to really be insightful about their questions, and I'd probably love talking about it too, right?
I know I would. If someone came up and said something to me about it, like, oh wow, really?
For me, it would have been like, dang, man, you gave those guys water so well today. You know, that was my highlight. Like, oh, Wiley was good today. He wiped every single, gave everybody their towels.
Yeah. All right, this Will says, I'm here in San Luis Obispo. If you guys are enterprising, put a show together down here and bring San Francisco and LA crowd together.
All right, done.
Damn. You know, I used to live near San Luis Obispo for a while, like in the Solvang area. And it's such a unique, it's not a lot going on. There's not a lot in
No.
between there in that Central Coast. But I know that there is definitely there's collectors up there. I know Santa Maria just opened up a shop, which is a little bit north of Santa Barbara. I know there's collectors in Santa Barbara, Ventura. It's kind of like that great. And then you got like San Jose. You're moving up north and all that in the Bay. So I think a Central Coast show could be a good idea. Maybe do like a Santa Barbara show or something like that. That could be a
Santa Barbara would be cool. We went to a show. I think there was a Santa Barbara school that did a fundraiser, and we went to that show. There was only a few tables, maybe like 10 or 12 tables, but it was a cool show.
Yeah, it's always the vibe for sure.
No.
I don't think I've ever been to a show though and been disappointed. So I'm very easy.
I will agree with that.
Right? It's like I've been to shows where it's it's 10 tables or 15 tables, and you'll still see something that's like, God, I still want that. Like it could be one vendor there, and I'd probably still find something that I want. We've been to them all when it comes down to the shows. The only one that I personally haven't been to was the Nationals, and it's just always because it's like, dang, it's that's a whole different ballgame. This year, I think we kind of have to. But yeah, I've never been disappointed in any show, regardless of size.
I think you'll enjoy the National a lot. It's back in the day, it used to be a show primarily ruled by memorabilia. It would be a focus on the autographs that would be assigned or the memorabilia that were on the vendor's table. Last year, when we went, there was more of a focus on cards. Cards ruled, as one would think it would, most of the show. But you still have your vendors that are focused on vintage. You have vendors that are focused on modern stuff. And there's wonderful cards at the National. I mean, you walk in.
Oh,
Have you all been to Dallas? You've been to Dallas, right?
We're going this March. This will be the first time we make the trip up there.
See, I haven't been to Dallas yet, but I've heard that Dallas rivals the National.
Yeah,
as far as the quality of cars you see, and the vendors and the relationships that you can build with people.
They have an awesome venue too. I mean, they have their space is located right with the hotel, and it's it makes it pretty easy. I just wish that our real estate over here in California was just as affordable, because we do that every weekend if we could.
Right. Yeah.
But that's the hard part is we pay for that Cali weather. So, but yeah, absolutely, we're gonna be there in Dallas for sure. I know I'm gonna find something. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
What you think of it?
Yeah.
Do you have any plans on heading out there, FD?
I would like to at some point this year. I would like to, maybe on the back half of the year. That may be something that we do. But I think right now we're going to stay pretty much in California, Phoenix. I want to get down to San Diego. That's part of California, and also get to Vegas.
Yeah. Always got to find an excuse to get to Vegas, of course, right? I know what's so awesome about the hobby is how many jobs did it create? I'm not talking about people working for PSA or anything else, but just the internal grind of people and how many new vendors are being created on a daily basis here. And I think that's what's just so awesome about the hobby is that it's becoming really more of a an all-around marketplace that people can express themselves through their collections. And it's not just a way of showing what you have, but a source of revenue that you can provide for your family now.
True.
And there's just so many avenues you could take it. You could host events like Alex and I do. You could have a podcast like you do. You could grade cards like our other company does. You could buy, flip, sell. You can find a lane and stick to it and find a way to be able to provide for your family. So just one of the best things about it. And you're also doing something that you completely love.
That's right.
Fulfilling as hell.
Time well spent, right?
Time very well spent.
I've always enjoyed it.
Me too.
Yeah, since the time I saw like an autograph in a magazine, and I asked my father, "Can you take me to an autograph show?" And he was like, "Yeah." I've always just enjoyed the meeting of people, getting something that could potentially be valuable, storing it in a way because I talk about this all the time at home, storing things in a way out of light at a certain temperature to prolong whatever you have over time. So it looks the same way as the day that you got it. I've always enjoyed that kind of stuff. And then, and it has allowed me, since moving to LA, to meet a lot more people, have good conversations with people. To me, there's really nothing really like being in a hobby in any capacity that you're in it and enjoying yourself. You know, we've already talked today about the research side, but once you put that work in, I have a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you're working for yourself. You know, you can't go wrong with that either. So that's the hardest part though, is what's it called? You have to be disciplined within this craft as well too. So yeah, do your research, man. Hey.
Well, you know, I've enjoyed talking to you all tonight. You know, I've wanted to have this conversation for a long time, and to have you both on, and I appreciate you being here. We will be at your show in Del Mar. I can't wait. Actually, I cannot wait. I was actually looking at the calendar today, just thinking about. We were counting down weeks here. We were talking as a group, just counting down the weeks until it. I think it's going to be a phenomenal show. When I saw the video of what the space looked like, I was like, okay, I can't wait to walk these tables and talk to people, and then get out after the show is over with and understand what's happening in the area. I love San Diego. I've always said here we have a joke that I love going to San Diego, and I would joke with my girlfriend a lot that this weekend I'm going to San Diego, and she'd laugh it off. But I used to go down there a lot for work back in the day and spend a lot of time in San Diego. And to me, we talked about San Francisco has one kind of demeanor to it. LA does, and San Diego is distinctive in its own right as far as the city, kind of the people that you meet. I've had great conversations with people I didn't even know in San Diego, so I'm looking forward to it.
We appreciate you, man. Thanks for having us.
We are too. We're looking forward to having you, man, and we love what you're doing. I know I tell you this every time.
Thank you, sir.
Pedal to the metal, man, because FD stock, if I could buy FD stock right now, I would invest heavily.
Yes.
Heavily
I'm recruiting that card. I'm buying that rookie card right now.
Give me the ticker. Give me the ticker, man.
Thank you very much. But I'll be in contact with you all about where's the best place to stay. And then we'll make reservations this week to make sure we're locked in, because I want that taken care of. Then I can't wait to be there. And if there's anything that you all need, any help, I don't care if it's small or something else, let me know. I'm there to help you all out.
You're already doing a lot for the hobby, man. So no, we thank you for everything you're doing as well. So anything we can do to help. But we'll link up. We'll have to do this at least 1 or 2 more times before the show.
Oh yeah, we'll do it before the show. I was already thinking that. That's why I wanted to get you all kind of early, and then we'll definitely get back together again a couple of times before we get to this show.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Appreciate
you. Thank you all. I really appreciate you.
We'll see you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.